Hey everyone. So I wanted to talk about my Awakened 1 loadout here, because I personally consider it to be my best loadout, and a lot of people seem to really have problems with the fact that I use it. Not for not like me being too good with it, but rather my weapon choice being overpowered. And I can definitely understand why people would think that, because I know Arcoplasmor is a relatively easy to hit weapon. But I think I've shown enough full match gameplay so that you can generally see how I use it. Like, even a lot of time I end up relying on the spear because I think it's just a better choice most of the time. But nonetheless, I'll explain why I have this loadout and how I use it. Because I do think this is the best loadout that I've ever made, just because of the way it synergizes with like the way the weapons synergize together. Uh, I'm gonna compare it to my Loadout a bit because there's a huge difference with the weapon choice being fluidity. Because this has a very long reload time, even when you have Emergent Aftermath active, and it doesn't auto reload at all. Now I can use Netron for auto reload, but I'm very restricted to close areas and stuff like that. So this is a good loadout. This is it's a good loadout. Don't get me wrong. This is why I still have it. Although I might not have it for long now that I've made this loadout here. I'm still deciding on what primary to use, but I'm really liking the Lex and Wolf Sludge combo. I just spawned Vectus Prime. I haven't actually tested it with Vectus Prime yet, so yeah. But back to Awaken 1. The cool thing about Arcoplasmor is the fact that it can auto-reload. Plus I can also have this healing mod on it. And it's also a radiation weapon, so I get the same Ardetron benefits. Which means I also get to have Despair for draining Gloom. So this loadout has radiation utility, energy drain utility, and crowd control utility, plus my usual healing utility, and because I like to support. And a similar thing to my my Blastodon loadout, where I block a lot and I do what do you call it? Quick burst of damage. Yeah, I can do the exact same thing with this loadout. So this is the best. This is the best of all of my other best loadouts. So it's the best of Sledge Menace, the best of Blastodon, uh, sort of also the best of Furry King now. You probably don't want to know why they're named like that. But yeah, it's the best of a lot of my best loadouts, and it's all combined into one just with that's due to some good synergy. Arcoplasmor also synergizes with Reckoning because I can shoot someone once even if I don't do a lot of damage, and then I get the extra Reckoning damage. And then of course you probably know that I often use Reckoning to heal a lot because Rudo is good for that, but sometimes it's better to get the kill that way. So what I can do is I can either use Reckoning and then Plasmor someone, or I can do it the other way around where I Plasmor someone and then use Reckoning. And then Despair is good for countering those any really problematic ability besides low energy ones because people can regen so quick. And then I've made whole videos about Wolf Sledge. I don't need to explain its own benefits alone, but 90% damage reduction and all the other melee benefits. Something that I really want to actually note here is that it's really hard for me to consider Arcoplasmor to be overpowered Because like I know like a lot of people have issues with it because like you know it's radiation and it's relatively easy to hit. Like I definitely get that, but like its DPS is not that high. Its DPS is if I remember correctly 176, and since that's radiation, that's half to 88 against shields. And like um I don't know about like everyone else's loadout, but like look at mine, right? So I I'm not doing the math on this right now, but like I think it would be like five max damage hits to be able to kill me with an Arcoplasmor. And as you can see from a lot of my videos, probably this one included, where it can be hard to actually hit an opponent that's moving because you still have to like lead your shots, even from like it's really close range. And even then you have to like get close. It's not like static or anything where like you can just blast someone from across the map. And so while I can sort of see why people would think it's overpowered in some way, I just really can't agree with it. At least not right now. Like I just don't have enough reason to. Like if you have like some better explanation, I would definitely like to hear it, but just the fact that it has such low DPS and like its main use for me is just finishing off enemies that already have their shields gone. I can definitely understand the issue if you have low shields, but like having low shields, it's like sort of like its own problem, I guess. Like if you're a Nidus, like you probably shouldn't really be complaining about something like Snipetron Vandal, for example, even though even though like you're pretty weak to it. So it's that sort of thing. Again, like I'm sort of like open to like reason because I know like a lot of people think it's overpowered, but I just want to like to explain why I disagree. So yeah, as you can tell from the gameplay, not just this one, but a lot of other things that I've posted, uh, my strategy is like, my general strategy at least is pretty simple, where like, my main sort of weapon is Wolf Sledge, and then I'll finish off with either Arcoplasma or Despair, just depending on the situation, and how much I remember to switch. I don't really react to like range differences very well. So like I'm really bad at switching. Uh, like if I've thrown the wolf slide, I'm really bad at like switching right after that throw to be able to finish a kill. But I'll usually like try to predict like what weapon I'll need at the time. So like if I think I'll be at a longer range, I'll switch to Despair and vice versa. I don't know how much time I usually have to switch like that, but I think that's something I can work on eventually. As you can also sort of see, I really made my own playstyle with this, and that's part of the reason why it's really hard for me to think of it as overpowered, because like nobody else does this. Like there are other people who throw Wolf Sledge to like knock down and stuff, but nobody really uses it like me. Like nobody really blocks with it. Nobody throws it as well as I do. Well, it's probably someone who could throw it like I guess comparably. But just look at like the whole play style. It's not something that anybody else does. And so like something that like I sort of like get from this is that like people are often think that like my play style is overpowered. Because like when something's really overpowered, you know, basically anybody can use it. Like look at static core. Everyone agrees that static core is overpowered because everybody can use it. And I've sort of talked about this before, like can something really be overpowered for just one person? If so, that, you know, definitely it definitely requires at least some skill for them to like really be like above everyone in that regard. So yeah, like as I was saying, I basically just made my own playstyle with this, like the blocking, just like everything really. On the subject of playstyle, though, I do want to mention something that a lot of people complain about too, which doesn't really have much to do with like being overpowered, well, at least not usually. But like my use of reckoning, I think I've explained this before, where like I usually try to keep full energy, uh, especially in like matches with less people. I usually try to keep full energy just so that people don't come too close, because if they come too close, then I can reckoning them. What I generally want is for them to keep away. And an annoying mentality that I've seen is that they'll come close to me anyway, even though like they can probably see me using overcharge detectors or something. So then they'll come close anyway, and then uh, they'll uh, basically label that as bad play on my part. But yeah, that's pretty much how my loadout works. I have a very wide variety of different things I can do, mainly centered around Wolf Sledge, which I generally throw or slam. You also see me using its air attacks a lot, so I basically do everything with Wolf Sledge. Besides using the combos, which I'm trying to work on, but like I don't know, something's weird about them. I don't know what it is. I think I just need to get used to them. And then when it comes to Arcoplasmor isn't really a very like it has one fireball and stuff like that, but I can either use it for damage, or I'd use it for both damage and radiation. So like it gives me like both of those options. Granted, I usually have to remove shields to actually make it deal good damage, or otherwise it's just like a little bit of chip damage. Not a little bit, like it's a decent amount. Like 88 against shields is was it 88? Yeah, I think it was 88 against shields. Uh, it's not bad damage. It's just not something that I could just use Arcoplasmor itself to kill with. And then that radiation also like not only just like has the normal radiation effects, but then it synergizes with my reckoning. And I also have like relatively low fire rate and like hard to hit weapons. So like Smite is like also good synergy along with that. Uh, as I think I said, wow, that was really bad talking. As I think I've said before, I see Warframe a lot like Pokemon, and like a good loadout, or like a good squad is basically like a good loadout is like a good move set, and a good squad is basically like a good team, basically. This is what I would consider like one of my best move sets, if we look at that like frame of reference. So again, I don't think like anything in particular is really overpowered, but if you have better reason than what people generally say, I'd definitely like to hear it. Uh, but you can also see that I definitely use a lot of alternatives, especially you'll probably see in one of my future videos where I use that one Lex loadout. But yeah, it's just a well synergized loadout. I don't really know what else to say about it. Each thing really has like each thing synergizes especially well with at least two other things in the loadout. Like Wolf Split Edge synergizes with everything. Despair synergizes a little extra with Arcoplasmor for covering its weaknesses. Arcoplasmor, along with synergizing with Wolf Sledge as is everything else, it also synergizes with Reckoning really well. So yeah, like I think the least synergetic thing would be Despair, but like even then, like Despair is just generally good. So that's really about all I have to say about it. It's the power of synergy, really.